Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Trailer into Reaction. What I'm looking at today is the official teaser trailer for 28 Years Later called SOS. And this is the third movie in the 28 Years Later. I would call it a trilogy, but I can't, and I'll get to why in a moment. In any case, it began with 2002's 28 Days Later, directed by Danny Boyle and written by Garland. The next movie in the series was released in 2007 and titled 28 Weeks Later. And this movie wasn't directed or written by Danny Boyle or Garland, though it's pretty good. And by my reckoning, it might be the scariest of the two movies thus far. Now keep in mind, I haven't seen it in a long time, though I recall it being pretty creepy, something that the original movie doesn't seem to do for me. In any case, next year we'll have the third movie called 28 Years Later. And I like the consistency, by the way, that works for me. Though supposedly there's another movie in the series coming after that. And based upon what I've read in various trades, that's going to be directed by Nia Costa, the person who directed The Marvels most recently, and prior to that, the reboot of Candyman, which is not a bad movie and better than I think a lot of people give it credit for being. It's interesting, and I tend to watch it more often than I perhaps should, but every time I do, it gets a little more involving for me. So I kind of like the Candyman reboot. And it's also worth mentioning that I don't think the original movie ages particularly well. It is interesting still, but it feels very dated to me. It never quite works as well as it should. In any case, let's look at the official trailer for 28 Years Later, titled SOS. Well, that was the very quick teaser for 28 Years Later. And I like it. Why? Because it seems to be working on the same principle as the promotional campaign for Longlegs, which was released earlier this year. Which is to say, you give minimal information. It's literally a teaser, in that you're just not giving enough information to make a decision one way or the other. You're giving little flashes and hints of things, but nothing is really revealed. I think that's awesome. It's the perfect format for a teaser for me. And it's worth mentioning also that what I like about the 28 whatever later movies, thus far at any rate, is that they respect what came before. The antagonists in 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later aren't zombies. They're people who are infected with a virus, a rage virus, in which they become animalistic and mad and vicious and deadly. This, I think, is respectful to the zombie genre. It's not like the weak tea that Zack Snyder tends to give, which is to say, as opposed to accepting the parameters which exist to work in, he has to kind of wreck everything with sprinting zombies. It's a stupid idea and it bugs me. And Garland at least seems to respect the idea that zombies don't run. So therefore, his antagonists aren't zombies. Simple answer, but once again, because Zack Snyder is not much of a thinker, he apparently missed. Now what do you think? This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Trailer into Reaction. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know down below. And as usual, consider a like, follow, or buy me a coffee. Though, it's worth saying all three of those would be awesome. But if you choose one, consider a follow. Peace.